Welcome back. You are listening to another episode of the Keep the Change podcast. It's good to have you tuning in, as I always like to say, because at least you're putting some of your mind on your money. And this one's an important one, and we did do a bit of a rant off the cuff, but I've decided to double down on this and create some more content to hopefully inspire the next generation, the next wave of people. So the ghost that you see when you close your eyes at night is that little bitch version of you who was once too scared to invest. But by the end of the series, that will no longer be you. I can guarantee that. Let's get straight into it. Why you haven't started investing. I've already written 4 parts to this. I'll refine them. This is part 1. There might even be a part 5. Recently, I asked people if they wanted to invest but haven't yet, how come? Sorry, I had to yell and use bold lettering in the money mail so that people actually read that question. I asked if they wanted to invest, so they're saying that they want to invest, but they haven't yet. How come? These were the answers. Overwhelming. Don't know where to start or how to start. Uni student and budget is too tight right now. Sharesies versus Hatch versus Tiger. Trapped with making the right decisions with tooling. The paperwork. The small amount won't make a difference. Don't know where to start and where the money needs to be invested. I don't know where to start. I'm unsure how to do it. Just don't know where to start, to be honest. There's a lot of info online, so no real excuse, just lazy to read. It's probably the answer. Anyway, I don't really know how. I'm unsure how to. No idea where to start. Haven't educated myself enough yet. Way better answer. Way better answer. Above the line. Ownership, accountability, responsibility. I haven't educated myself enough yet. Well done. Spent years thinking about it. Finally started 6 weeks ago. Bang. Fear of losing money I put in. I'm scared. I signed up, but now what? I don't know where to start. It seems overwhelming. To be honest, too scared but lazy at the same time. I'm just going to pause myself there. If you haven't started investing, it's fine. This isn't an attack on you. This isn't anything to make you feel embarrassed or, that you're inferior. Nothing like that. We are hopefully going to inspire and educate you to understand it a bit better through this series. But why I list all of these out is so that as we go through the different weeks, you can see like, oh, that's me. Like I think like that too, but you just didn't respond to these questions that I asked, and that's fine. So you can see all of these different reasons that people aren't investing. You might go, shit, like that's for me, and we're going to try and break them down. But anyway, let's carry on. To be honest, too scared but lazy at the same time. Good ownership. Started Sharesies, but it's spelled as like cherries. Maybe I spelled that wrong. But don't know what the fuck I am doing. Fear of losing what I put in. I've got a low risk tolerance. I don't know how. Definitely fear of losing the hard to obtain. Like money isn't hard to obtain. Just on that, okay? That's a belief. You believe that money is hard to obtain. Someone taught you that and you held on to that. I know people who think it's easy to make money. And they believe that it's easy. So start there. Take your beliefs about money that don't serve you well and write them down and figure out where did they come from. And then on the other side of a piece of paper, flip them all. So if you say, we grew up poor, then on the other side you would say, we didn't have much, but that will not stop me. It's hard to make money. You would write down, it's easy to make money. And to go further than that, because it's easy just to be like, oh, that doesn't work, bro. You're just fucking saying do the opposite. Well, kind of, but what you do then is you say, it's easy to make money because I'm willing to find ways to do it. Okay? So if you don't believe in this shit, that you can't just like flip thinking and to a positive, then give it reasoning that would give it more sense to you. So it's easy for me to make money because I learned how to do it. It's easy for me to make money because I have done the work to understand where it comes from. It's easy to make money because I'm willing to do what it takes to get it. Whatever that has to be your truth, that is how you want to reshape how you think about this, okay? So if you've got a fear of losing what's hard to obtain, look, that's a really, really bad belief to hold, because one day someone's going to die in your life and that person was hard to obtain, and you're going to carry that belief over there too. And I'm not saying don't grieve for them and that's not hard, but what else is this going to do for you in your life when you carry it over somewhere else? What harm could thinking like this do for you? So have a think about why you think it's hard to obtain money and then we want to start there to try and beat that belief anyway. Sorry, carry on. Not sure what fund. I'm nervous about losing it. Same thing. Wondering, why aren't you nervous about gaining? What do you do with all the extra money? Shit. What do I do when I become a millionaire from investing? Why is your brain not going that way? The brain is negative. It's risk. It's, whoa, shit. It's looking for fear. And if you don't acknowledge it or don't understand how it works, you're going to let your brain override you. Your brain is very powerful. You're very powerful, and you're letting it just do its thing. You've got to get in control of it. It's got control of you when you're thinking like that. Wondering if a major catastrophe will blow the world to smithereens. Why does your brain think that? Why did your brain not go, fuck, I need to invest because I'm worried that I'm going to miss out on a new AI company that might change the world forever? Because it's not what your brain does, okay? Anyway, we're not even supposed to be doing that, but yeah, we'll come to that. Finally did today. Analysis paralysis stopped me for a wee bit. Beautiful. I'm just afraid of losing money. I'm not sure where to start. I'm overthinking which platform to use. I need more money before risking it in case I lose it. Same thing as above, like people are scared of losing it. It's just that's just the wrong way to look at it. I need more money before. No, it's like saying, I'll be a giver once I've got something to give. You've always got something to give. You've always got something to invest. I'm not sure of what kind of investor I want to be. Jesus, that one's on the periphery. What the fuck do you mean? What kind of investor you want to be? Okay, I shouldn't address that because I'm going to be lost for 10 minutes, but maybe you want to be Warren Buffett, then go and study what he did. Maybe you want to be a clean investor. You will never perfect this shit. I promise you, if you sit in front of me and you tell me that you're a clean green investor, I'll tear you to shreds of how you're not, and I'll show you actions in your life to prove that you are not. Not to be an asshole, but to say, hey, get real. Get bloody real, okay? We can't let all of that stuff be the thing that stops us from taking action in our life. And then you'll always have something in your life to justify why it's okay. So even if you do pick, that you're this person, but you do something that conflicts with that, you're like, oh no, but I don't have an EV car yet because I can't afford it, but I am a clean green investor. Oh, come on, bro. What are you doing? Don't let this stuff be so silly to stop you from actually taking action. We shouldn't get stuck at what kind of investor I want to be. But anyway, like I say, I'm not having a crack at you. I'm trying to help you because this is all just noise and stuff that people get stuck with. And I see this in business as well with clients that we work with Next Advisory, where it's like they're thinking you've got to help them tidy up their mind first to then get some clarity to start taking some action. Same thing, I just want to get the tone right on our website. No one's even read it. No one's been to it. No one's going to go to it. Who cares? Why are we wasting weeks figuring out the tone on the website when no one's even been to it? And you're interpreting the tone, not the person who's reading it, and you're not even getting any feedback from them what the tone is. You know what I mean? So it happens everywhere. Anyway, where the hell do we start? Before I summarize what I think the key three are, know this, that you have to want to. You have to want to invest, and that's what's going to help you get started, by actually wanting to start with. Because Warren Buffett won't pop up on your screen and tell you what stock to invest in. The current Prime Minister isn't holding a 1 p.m. stand-up for you with the answers either. And just on that, I actually think we've done a massive discredit to people, and please, this is not an attack on Jacinda Ardern, Chris Hipkins, Ashley Bloomfield. This is me looking top down. It doesn't matter who would have been in power. I don't think that we, as a collective, but especially probably people like you that listen to this podcast, I don't think a lot of Kiwis needed someone at 1 p.m. every day to be like, this is what's going on, this is what's going to happen next. Because I think it trained people to be scared to make their own decisions and to really need a leader. But you know what we need more of in this country is more leadership of ourselves and of our communities, of our families, of our sports teams, etc. And when you are dulling it down and dumbing it down and stuff, the amount of questions that I get where it's like, how do you not have the confidence to make this decision for yourself? Who stole this from you? Who took it from you? Who trained you to be stuck at this? And I do think that through the COVID period, we were kind of told what we could do, what we couldn't do, where we could go, fucking how many meters we could get close to somebody else. There'd be an update the next day, all this sort of stuff. And then when it was like, hey, crisis averted, see you guys, back to it. And I've often said on these podcasts, I'm like, okay, where was the response to the financial side of it? Where's the 1 p.m. announcements like, hey, here's what you need to do about inflation. Here's what you need to do about increasing your income. Here's how to negotiate your salary. No, you're on your own. So why was it sweet through that period? But like, why do you have to then just figure all this out in another area of your life? Who knows? But I just don't think that has helped a lot of people, because I see so many people that have lost confidence to make decisions when some of these things, like, they're actually not that hard to decide. But you do have to understand that the current Prime Minister or the past one, they're not holding a press conference for you to tell you what to invest in or what the answers are. You're on your own, but what you do need to understand is the guardrails are up so high that you're so unlikely to hit a gutter ball long term. Stop aiming for a strike and bowl your ball. Now, kind of what I mean by this, and I probably should have articulated this better, but you don't need to go and pick an individual stock and like hope that you nail it and get it right. You might pick a fund that you invest into, and that's okay as well. Like, it might be a pre-built fund, and I'm not going to like explain all of these things. I want you to go away and research what some of these things are. Like, search for pre-built fund, Sharesies, for instance. I'll reference them a bit throughout these. Your KiwiSaver provider will have pre-built funds. Generate have pre-built funds in KiwiSaver and outside of, and I invest into those myself. And they've got a basket of stocks. You don't have to pick individual stocks. The guardrails are up, like the platforms are all there, the funds are all being built, and we're sitting there saying all this stuff above. Now, I brought my first share at 17 before any of the sexy platforms existed. Like, how did I do that? Because I wanted to, and I was interested, and so I got myself closer to it. And what I learned recently when writing this is that the stock market, or stock markets, have been around since the 1700s. It's 2024, and we're saying, oh, don't know how to, not sure where to start. Seriously? Like, we're going to bash the excuses out of all of ourselves here, just like I had to at 17. Just because you start investing too doesn't mean you know what you're doing. Like, I didn't, and I did some dumb shit, which we'll come to as well. But so many people have come and gone before us because they wanted to. Investing is actually part of a learning journey. I repeat, you learn as you go. It's not like you just sign up to a share platform, put your first dollar in, you're like, done it, clocked it, figured it all out. This is actually like when the learning starts. You've opened a whole heap of new chapters. Now, equally important, do you know what is scary about a lot of those responses? And obviously, I spoke about this on the podcast if you did listen to this, but from my observation, most of the responses came from women. Now, someone's already carved me up on LinkedIn saying, oh, so you think that all guys are... I'm like, no, bro, it's not what I'm saying, but here's what I am saying. If you're an investor, whether you're a male or a female, or however you identify, and you know a woman who wants to invest but is stuck, can it please now be your challenge to help them take action and provide them with the resources? Okay? Can you own that challenge, please, for us? My mum messaged me once and she was like, I've started investing. So she signed up and had a crack. Boom. So there's another woman who's got an investment. Same with my sister. And for her, I think it was about, investing for her son and understanding it over a longer time period and actually taking some action. But what I get sick of is seeing these convos where it's like men versus women and men have got more and all this stuff. And yes, there's obviously, wherever you sit on that stuff, like, okay, actually, this is a better way to explain it. Why do we need to pick a side on that? Why can't we be together? And why can't we go, oh, okay, fuck, it would be a good idea to teach some other women to invest if they would like to, because I know how to, okay? So one of the things I talked to the retirement commissioner about is, women taking less risk. And she's like, yeah, well, until I got this job, I didn't realize that I was in the wrong fund for my investments. I should have been taking more risk, and that's just naturally, I'm risk averse and whatnot. And so then once she learnt more, then she changed what she was investing into. And women are better investors than men from what I've read and learned, but also like men like to take more risk. And if things are going well, sometimes more risk is great, but if they're not, not always good. But we need to be having more conversations with our partnerships and with each other and within our friend groups, being like, hey, like, do you need help with this? And it doesn't need to be investing. It might be like, hey, do you need some help around your nutrition? I know someone, or I can help you, or whatever, right? But otherwise, we're going to have more and more and more and more and more of these convos about how men have more invested than women, and we're going to keep fighting over gaps instead of addressing something that's actually solvable, which is teaching women how to invest. And there's a Girls That Invest book, and if you get upset about the gap between men and women, but you haven't read that book and you're a woman, like there's probably a really good place to start to just own, like to take a little bit of further interest or ownership into it and go, okay, like I need to be part of bridging this gap. But I understand obviously the problem is wider than that, and so I'm not like trying to oversimplify it, but I'm just trying to encourage some of you who maybe you do know how to invest or understand quite a bit about it and you've got experience with it, and you're like, oh yeah, actually I haven't thought to ask this friend, like, do you need a hand on how to get started? And that's probably how the snowball rolls, right? Rather than having a big fucking argument every year about the difference in KiwiSaver balance for men and women, or this data that comes out that just puts us against each other. Anyway, that's my take on it. And I appreciate that not everyone's going to agree, but I like to see action and things get done rather than people fight with each other around things that we could actually be doing something about. Now, over the coming weeks, what we're going to do is we're going to break into the key 3 sections that I think we can summarize the above into. And this is my list. Number 1, fear/scared. That came through loud and clear. Number 2, unsure how. And number 3, analysis paralysis. That's what I think the top 3 are. And then I might go through that list and figure out, okay, what's on the periphery? Like, what did I sort of miss? And we'll just riff and ramble on those ones, and we'll cover some of those things off as well. But before I do that, over the coming weeks, I want you to consider this. Sharesies is just one platform in New Zealand. They started in 2017. That's it. 2017. Haven't even been going for a decade. And they provide easier access to investing in New Zealand. They now manage over $3.5 billion of funds, and they have over 700,000 users across New Zealand and Australia. 700,000 users. Do you know how many people that is? Do you know how big of a database that is? So a lot of Kiwis are actually investing in some form, whether it be via these types of platforms or via their KiwiSaver provider, or maybe even your property, which you see as an investment as you pay down that debt to then build up the equity in that property. But really, it's not really an investment unless it does something. I mean, some people are like, okay, well, it provides shelter and it stops you paying rent. So, okay, I kind of get that once it's mortgage free, right? But then, like, how do you leverage off of that? And are you going to? But a lot of people are actually investing in some way, shape, or form. But we're sort of more so talking about the share market here. But there are 3.3 million people in KiwiSaver. About 1 million of those don't contribute. Pretty sure that's right. I don't have the data in front of me, but I think it's roughly that. So here's my question. Why not get closer to your KiwiSaver fund, if you've got KiwiSaver, and find out what it's invested in, no matter how big or small it is? And of course, I'm going to say this, but partly why I partnered with Generate is that they provide advisors to come and help you understand more about investing, and you get access to a financial advisor. Now, yes, some people have said, oh, but their fees are higher. Okay, but every business has a different offering. And what I like about what they do is that you can actually speak to somebody from there and go like, can you please help me? And they will help you. So we've had different advisors from Generate come on the pod, and that's a great way to get you moving on your investment journey when you can actually get advice to some people who can help you. But they can help you also understand, like, what is your KiwiSaver in? They could even review your current KiwiSaver fund and help you understand that. And you'll realize, oh, I actually already am investing. But next one, if you find out what fund you're in, what stocks make that fund up. So you could probably go and find that on your KiwiSaver provider's website, or you could drop them an email, or you could read their report if they send you one and be like, okay, what's in this? What is in this fund? And then how do these KiwiSaver funds, how do they make sense of investing in those companies every week? Every week they place money into different shares. How do they make sense of that? Why are they not too scared? Why are they not fearful? Why are they not unsure how? And why don't they have analysis paralysis? Have a think about that. I often like to ask myself this, how do people make sense of this that are doing things? I just said before jumping on here, another example is people will send me these questions around like doomsday of stuff happening. And like, what if the bank collapses? I'm like, bro, you got $3,000, man. My mate who's got 3 million, like, he's got his money in the bank. Which one of you needs to be more concerned about this? How does the person with 3 million still make sense of using the bank? Probably because there aren't too many other options, right? But it's buzzy that people will find all of this data and these wild scenarios in their head, these massive downside risks, to freak them out when they still don't actually have too much to lose. And I mean no disrespect by that, but we will cover this off in a coming pod. But part of it, I think, is because you've worked so hard to get that amount that you're then scared that something could happen. You know, hopefully I don't get done for defamation and Sharesies that understand where I'm coming from with this, but like, oh, what if Sharesies take my money? Shit. Like, I don't know, what, it's $2,000? Do you think that, that you can't make another $2,000 in your life? But I get it. It's hard, right? It's like, how do you even come up with these outlandish things that could happen? This week it was, what happens if all the KiwiSaver providers go under? I'm like, holy shit, man, how are you thinking about this? And aren't 3 million people going to be blowing up, and there's going to be a huge... But anyway, people will find all these massive risks that will stop them taking action, and you have to remember that your thoughts are going to be worrisome, and they're going to be often negative, and they're going to be the same as the day before, and the day before that, and the day before that, and a year later you're going to look back and be like, damn it, the KiwiSaver providers didn't go under, the bank didn't go under, what was I worried about? But you won't think like that, because the longer that time goes, you'll want to find more data to prove that it could happen. And it's a bit like the World Economic Forum, they're going to own everything and you're going to own nothing and be happy. Well, yeah, that article's from 2017, it's been misinterpreted, but anyway, even if you believe that, it's now 2024, so you've had 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, you've had 7 years since that article came out, and you haven't done anything to own any assets. If you believe that so much, wouldn't your action points be, I need to own some assets before the World Economic Forum own them all? But instead, you're going to collect all the data and leave a comment every time and like, told you can't afford that, that person can't afford that, you're going to own nothing and be happy. It's like, you're not right. Like, nothing good is coming of you doing this, but you're trying to find reason not to take action because you don't actually want to take the actions that you know you need to do. So I said to this person who was worried about all the KiwiSaver providers going under in a recession, I'm like, dude, we're in a recession, and dude, we had COVID. Like, and also, have you asked a KiwiSaver provider what happens if you guys go under? Nah, I haven't done that. I'm like, wouldn't that be a good place to start? Like, go and get the data? Or are you just going to keep thinking about this? I said, please tell me this doesn't stop you from investing. Oh, it's definitely made me wary about it. I got to ask again, who should be more worried? That person or the person that's actually got 3 million in their KiwiSaver? Good point when you put it like that. So sometimes we've got to like really fight back towards your brain and the silly things that it's going to encourage you to think about. And I'm not scared to have these conversations. And I know sometimes they're pretty borderline, and some people like some things like conspiracy and whatnot. And there will be a big fucking collapse during the Keep the Change history, no doubt at some stage. It's like, I told you, man. I told you, look at this happened. That minor bank went under over there. Like, banks fail in America. Go read up on that if you're worried about banks failing. Like, the world's still spinning. We're still here. What happened? So just be careful of like all of this big fear and risk that your brain is going to give you around starting a business, around investing, around exercising, around getting your first girlfriend, coming out of the closet, like whatever it is that is stopping you from being the person that you want to be. You've got to understand that all of those thoughts are floating around your head, and you're probably the one thinking them, and there's probably not many other people thinking it about them. But if you go and find a whole group of people that are like thinking the same thing and freaking out about the same stuff, dangerous place to go. But also, if you do think like that and then you don't shoot your shot, you don't live the life that you want, then you can't really have regrets, and you can't really blame other people and then ask for things later on when life hasn't gone your way, because you've chosen that path. But not many people take that level of ownership. So anyway, let's get off that. I think it's time to be bold if you haven't started investing yet. At least get closer to the information. Try and think, like, how do they make sense of it? How do other people make sense of doing this? You're one of over 11,275 recipients. There are over nearly 8,000 on LinkedIn. Did you know at 30 June 2024, there were 3.4 million individuals. Oh, there's 3.4. I said 3.3. 3.4 million individuals enrolled in KiwiSaver. There is over $110 billion of funds in all KiwiSaver funds combined. One day that's going to be $1 trillion. And the people who aren't contributing and the people that are like, oh, be careful, KiwiSaver could go under and stuff, are going to be like, oh, they're lucky. Easy for them. Oh, they're privileged. I was never in a position to do that. Like, man, KiwiSaver has been set up to try and encourage non-savers to save and to create a really easy way for people to invest. And people are still like, nah, not doing that. But I get it if you don't want to do it. You don't have to email me and message me. And the other day I'm getting like oh yeah, well I'm investing in my own stuff and I'm doing this. I'm like, cool, bro, that's cool. Like you don't need to convince me, man. You need to convince yourself, and you've already convinced yourself. So you don't need to write to me to convince me about why you don't want to do it. That's completely sweet. Pick your own path, execute your plan. If you've got a plan, execute it. If KiwiSaver's not part of it, that's your thing. But it's a simple framework that is there, and it has seen millions of people already investing, and we'll go a bit deeper in these coming weeks. Anyway, that's there to get you thinking and get us started, and we're going to go a bit deeper into the key 3 in the coming weeks. Be good out there this week. I'll see ya next time.